Okay, Josh. But we don't hear Nancy.
Nancy, I don't think you're supposed to have those birds as a pet, just so you know.
That's right, it's illegal to have a pet eagle.
Is that better now?
It's still very low. Josh, we're just having a little trouble with Nancy. Check your Zoom settings, Nancy. Your mic isn't moving at all. Everybody, we're just waiting. We've got Nancy, our attorney, on Zoom.
You guys guide me, my Zoom settings, select the microphone, same as system maybe?
What did you say, Nancy?
System microphone, is that better?
Close to your computer as you can there.
Is that better? Can you guys-
A little better.
It's a little
Still
better.
faint, but
Not as loud as we
But we see you fine.
Nancy, Josh says that your levels, your microphone level is not moving at all on Zoom. That means something on your end
You need to
is
put your speaker on.
not triggering
Microphone.
the mic.
Audio settings, let me go there. I apologize, everyone.
Okay, well, you know what? We're just going to deal with it for the time being. You're not going to need to talk much today, probably. Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Fort Myers Beach Local Planning Agency. It is Tuesday, January 13th. It's 9 a.m., the year 2026. It's unbelievable. If you would please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So our invocation is just Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Short and sweet.
Okay, our first item on the agenda is an approval of the final agenda. Does anyone have anything to add, subtract, or comments? May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. How about an approval of the minutes for our meeting of December 16th? This should be 2025.
so moved, Seth.
Thank you. Thank you, Don. Is there a second for that
Second.
motion? John?
Second.
Thank you. So motion from Don and seconded by John. Any objection to the motion to approve? Hearing none, it carries unanimously. Now we have public comment, and we do have public here today, but if you're here to speak about a case, you should speak during the public hearing of the case. Is there anybody else who has anything to say? Hearing none, we'll move on to the public hearings. And Nancy,
Can you hear me now?
much better.
Okay, great. Thank you, Madam Chair. Today on your agenda, you have 3 items. You have 2 variances and 1 special exception. And these public hearings for these items are quasi-judicial in nature. This requires that your public hearing comply with procedural requirements that have been established in Florida law and in our land development code. Your quasi-judicial proceeding, they will be less formal than proceedings before a circuit court, but they're going to be more formal than the remainder of your meeting. And we must follow the basic standards of due process requiring certain notices, the application of the correct standards, and your decisions to be made on competent substantial evidence presented to you either in written or in oral testimony. Your responsibility today is to evaluate the testimony and the information given to you for each of these items, and then draw a conclusion regarding whether the criteria in the Land Development Code or in state law has been satisfied. So speculation or just an opinion that is not based on competent facts cannot legally be considered by you in evaluating an agenda item. Testimony by professionals who are qualified as experts in a particular area has been considered competent evidence by Florida courts, as well as testimony by neighbors and residents who have fact-based information or information that is based on their personal knowledge. So members in the audience, those of you who intend to speak, please keep these comments in mind. And when you come forward, clearly state your name for the record and whether or not you have been sworn in. As you are aware, a unanimous decision by eligible voting members of the LPA to approve a variance, and we have two on our agenda today, shall constitute final agency action. And this will be subject to a request by anyone for an additional hearing or review of the matter by the town council if that request is received by the town clerk within 10 days. So for purposes of efficiency, I would like to go ahead and ask our town clerk, have the items been properly noticed today?
Yes, they have been.
Thank you. And also, is there any member of the LPA who has a conflict of interest under our ethics code that would prevent them from voting on any of these items?
Doug?
If you would close that now so we can make sure that we do have a quorum present for the evaluation of these items.
Jim, any conflicts?
I don't think it's conflict. One of them deals with a neighbor
Okay.
on our street.
Okay. How about you, Don?
None.
Jane? Jim?
None.
John?
Similarly, one of them is one over from me on my street, but no conflict.
Okay. I have none as well, Nancy.
Thank you. And a conflict is really determined on whether or not there's going to be a special benefit provided to you based on your decision. It doesn't sound like there are any members who would be disqualified from voting due to conflicts today. The next item that, for housekeeping purposes, is we'd like to go ahead and have the town clerk swear in any of the witnesses, anyone present today, who will be giving testimony regarding any of these three items.
So anyone in the audience that's going to get up to speak today, stand up to be sworn in, please. Even if you think you might. Okay.
If you'll all raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, all have been sworn.
Thank you, everyone.
Madam Chair, your opportunity now to go ahead and introduce the first item on your agenda.
Thanks, Nancy. You know what I'm thinking? You should just record that. We could just hit a button and it could play it every. All right. Our first public hearing is a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Fort Myers Beach, Florida, approving with conditions or denying a special exception SEZ 2025021, a request to increase the number of bedrooms in a two-family residence while utilizing the Post-Disaster Build-Back Code of the Land Development Code, Section 34-3238 2E4A. For the property located at 166 and 168 Coconut Drive, generally referred to as strap number 294624W20070A0160 in Fort Myers Beach, providing for Scrivener's errors, severability, and an effective date. Ex parte, anything from you, John?
None.
How about you, Jim?
None.
Jane? None. Don?
None.
Jim?
None?
Doug?
None.
Okay, and I have none as well. So, Jason, nice to see you. Happy New Year, Jason.
Happy New Year to you and the rest of the LPA and everybody watching at home. My name is Jason Smalley. I'm the senior planner with the town, and today before you is a special exception request. As Anita had mentioned, this is built into the special exception request for increasing the number of bedrooms within a home that is utilizing the post-disaster build-back policy. The applicant today is requesting to, in furtherance of the elevation of the home for floodplain purposes, is requesting to increase the number of bedrooms from the 3 that could be established prior to the storm to a maximum of 6. Before you is the request. The staff has determined that the approval conditions would be prudent, and we have put a additional condition of approval onto there to accommodate additional rooms and possible additional intensity that goes along with those rooms. The staff has recommended an additional parking space be required, which would bring the total up to 3, and they would be required to show that they can park all of those prior to CO of the structure that they're going to be reconstructing. Staff is here for any questions that you may have. The applicant is here for any questions that you'd like to ask of them.
Thank you very much, Jason. Any questions for
Yes.
Jason? Jason?
Can you explain why you are using?
Hold on,
the-
Jane.
Oh,
Remember
sorry,
this. That's
sorry,
okay.
sorry. Can you explain why you're using the post-disaster build-back on this?
So the post-disaster build back was intended to allow structures that could be validated to have additional density to rebuild at that same amount of density. Remember, density is very deeply held in the comp plan and state statutes. And so the vesting or the allowance to retain that, once we can validate it was there before the storm, had to be done through this post-disaster policy. This is mentioned in the comp plan, and right after the storm, staff came to town council to request kind of guardrails on how we would do this. And the outcome of the post-disaster build back is what you see before you. It requires that they come before you to keep the same thing they had before, but if they want to increase that, that's the reason that they have to come before you and council.
So my understanding is that the comp plan allows you to add one more bedroom, or?
It allows you to request additional bedrooms. The LDC language that was given to us has no upper limit. It's
Okay.
limited by the public meetings and determinations from you and the town council.
Okay. Okay, and this is going to remain a one building. It's not going to be two buildings.
Correct. What we've been told, and we do not have a full permitting package in front of us, but once that comes in and from the proposed layouts in the package, yes, it's going to be a single structure, a duplex, if you will. And then the bedrooms and the bathrooms, if they increase those, are all going to be increased within the existing square footage that existed pre-storm that we can validate. They're not asking to increase the internal area, just split it up a
But
little bit.
they are adding another floor.
So the actual area that existed pre-storm included that lower area. If you've seen the previous pictures, it looked like it was an enclosed area, what the LPA, or excuse me, the LIPA would call a finished lower level, and a carport. The changes to the comp plan that were done prior to Sarah leaving, we changed the language to allow for any space that was within the roof line. So under the new framework, it allows them to count everything under both floors and rebuild that. So they are going to be rebuilding that entire area that existed within the roof line pre-storm.
So just a clarification on that, it doesn't matter whether or not it was under air or it's strictly the roof line that is
That is
the-
absolutely correct. On the amendment to the LDC at that time, it was determined just for multiple reasons, including just figuring out what existed there prior,
Right.
that we would allow them to use everything within the roof line, air conditioned or not.
And there's some of the text in the staff report talks about a 5-bedroom approval, and yet when you just mentioned it would be 3 to 6. I'm trying to understand what.
I apologize. That was my mistake. I was reading the bathrooms. It was 5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. So they would be asking for an increase of one bedroom from what existed prior. So they had 5 and 3 bathrooms. The code says that you can increase the number of full bathrooms to the full number of allowed rooms. So under today's codes, they could do a 5-5. What they're asking for is an equal split to allow for 6 bedrooms, and I assume 6 bathrooms as well.
Well,
So,
if you look at the LIPA site under property details of the 2025 tax roll, it says 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Okay, so we would go back to 2021. If that is a change, if that has been changed in there, then we'll go back and take a look at it. So they are, either way, they're asking to increase the number of bedrooms.
Right.
The intensity would change going up, obviously. So I think your question is, what's the difference between intensity of 3 bedrooms additional versus 1 bedroom additional?
Absolutely, it's doubling the number of bedrooms versus an additional bedroom.
And I would defer to the applicant to sort of give a little bit more history on the structure, but the staff took both of those ideas into mind, and that's why we recommended the additional parking space to sort of mitigate a little bit of the increased intensity.
Got it, thank you.
I'd also like to make a comment. I'm familiar with this property, and it was on the MLS and sold in November of 2025, and it was listed as a 2-1 up and a 1-1 down.
Okay,
So that was
three.
just 2 months ago, so.
All right, I will personally go back and check the LIPA from the 2021 records, which is generally where we would establish what existed pre-storm. If that's a problem or deficiency in the staff report, I'll make sure and note that.
But it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because they can
from
ask
the
for
number
whatever they
wise,
want.
no.
Right.
If they had 3 and wanted 6, or they had 5 and want 6, the same process would follow.
Okay, okay.
Any other questions?
Just
Okay.
a minor clarification on bathrooms. The plans here are showing 4 bathrooms, and they're,
If
you
they
keep
choose
mentioning
not to
5, yeah.
increase that number, they are allowed, well, ostensibly, if they are afforded the additional rooms, they can have any number of bathrooms up to that without asking for additional approval.
Understood. Thank you.
It's not how I ever, this
You're
is
thinking
never
of-
how I ever remembered the post-disaster build, pre-disaster build back. Sorry, I withdraw that.
Okay, we'll have the applicant come up and tell us whatever you'd like to say. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike Pointello, I'm the applicant and owner.
Can you please turn your mic on?
Yeah, just hit the little button.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
So basically, we had a non-compliant flood structure. The first floor was basically in the flood zone. So our application would like to take that, the area that is not compliant and put a floor right on top. In reference to LIPA, LIPA's computers, when I went down to LIPA for clarification, for tax reasons, for the people paying their taxes, the computers were closed down. So I provided Jason a certified copy from the director of LIPA, and I provided that with my application to show that the existing is a 5-3. And you have that documentation, Jason, we can pull that up probably in my application. Basically, we would want to take the third floor, I want to use it for my family and myself, and the second floor I want to use to rent out to a family or professionals or someone quiet. I really don't want to have a lot of noise, and some of the neighbors, they ask, you going to rent to college kids? Absolutely not. I want to be able to rent a yearly rental and have it nice and quiet in the neighborhood and keep it quiet like it is. So that was a main concern of the neighbors when I went to talk to them. And basically, we've been out there cleaning some trash up and so forth, and the neighbors have been responsive in a positive way, and they just want the place cleaned up and looking nice so their properties don't go down in value. So basically, that's, what we'd like to do, and keep it nice and toned down and quiet, and have 6 bedrooms and 4 baths.
Mike, do you foresee any issue with the additional condition of the parking?
I know there's plenty of space in the front. The building sits back enough, so we'll use the parking right on the side there. The driveway's plenty big in the front.
Okay. Any questions for the gentleman? From anyone? All right, thank you very much for your presentation, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any follow-up questions for Jason or the applicant? Well, let's open the public hearing and see if we have it. Anybody else like to speak on this case? Okay. What were you going to tell us, Jason?
I just wanted to come back. So Mr. Martello did remind me, yes, we had received some information directly from LIPA, and they stating that essentially the 3-2 that was on there had been overcome by some documentation that he provided prior to the town. And LIPA had sent back documentation to say that they accepted that and that his taxes would be based on that number. Ostensibly, that'll be a new number for taxing if he is allowed to have additional rooms.
Okay.
I apologize for that, but yes, you are absolutely correct. On LIPA, it does show the 3-2.
But Jason, what we're voting on is like square footage, like roof line, single structure, completely allowed by post-built back.
Post-disaster only deals with the number of dwelling units and the square footage, so that will be the same. Everything else will go through normal permitting, so their heights and setbacks will all be under code.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone? Any discussion on this? If not, may I have a motion, please, for this case?
I move that we approve Resolution 26-015, SEZ 20250-271, 166, 168 Coconut Drive, along with 3 conditions recommended by staff.
Support.
Thank you very much, Jim and Jim. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, your vote. Jim?
Aye.
Dunlap?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Thank you. Thanks for being here this morning. Okay, the next item, the next case we have is a variance. This is a resolution of the Fort Myers Beach Local Planning Agency approving with conditions, or denying variance 20250-220, requesting a variance from the Land Development Code Section 34-638D, 6B3, to reduce the required 20-foot side setback, street setback, by 11.9 feet, to allow a 232-square-foot deck for the existing single-family residence in the single-family residential RS zoning district for the property located at 173 Gulf Island Drive, generally referred to as strap number 294624 W20050C0120 in Fort Myers Beach, and providing for other clarifications as necessary, providing for conflicts of law, Scribner's errors, severability, and an effective date. Doug, do you have any ex parte?
No, ma'am.
How about you, Jim?
Yes, I've had communication from the neighbors.
Okay.
None.
Don? Jane?
I've also had communication with some of the neighbors.
Jim?
None.
John?
None for me.
And I have none. Okay, Jason.
Good morning again, Jason Smalley, Senior Planner. So before you today, again, is a variance for 173 Gulf Island Drive. They are asking for the 20-foot side street setback to be reduced to allow for an 8.1-foot minimum setback, which is a difference of 11.9 feet. So they are asking for relief of 11.9 feet to rebuild, or excuse me, to newly construct additional 252 square foot entrance deck into the home. Usually these structures that have additional protrusion would be covered under the town's additional 10-foot of protrusion for entryways and service of the first level. This one in particular is an existing non-conforming. They already have a minorly non-compliant setback of just under 25 feet. What they're requesting today is to pull the decking area to the side with the widest setback currently, and they're asking to allow for additional 252 feet, and that's going to obviously protrude into the 20-foot setback. Originally, just to give you a piece of background, I've personally been dealing with this one since the storm. Originally, the design was on the other side of the house where they've got about 3 feet. If you notice, this lot is very, in my mind, unique. They sit adjacent to a very, very wide swath of right-of-way. Usually those right-of-way swaths are, 5 feet, maybe a little bit more, but their home sits very close to one side. In the intervening years, they changed their plan and they've decided to go out to the side, which has the larger setback rather than the one that's closer to Bayside. And so the request is really just it's fairly small, but it is going to be protruding into that setback quite a bit, much more than would be allowed for under today's codes, if they were building it under today's codes. The structure is from 1996. Don't really have a good view on whether some of that area on Bayside was taken for right-of-way purposes, for expanding the road or not. It just struck me as fairly odd as I looked over the site, just the layout of that home. So staff has recommended denial on this simply based on the fact that this is a choice. The home is usable and could be, in theory, built to keep the non-compliance and allow for access. But I think staff also recognizes this is a fairly small ask in the grand scheme of things of 252 square feet, which is much smaller than what would be allowed for on similarly placed homes, corner lot home of that size, of a lot of that size. So we do recognize that, and we mitigate our denial based on that. If it is determined that you wanted to vote for approval of this, the conditions contained in therein, there's 4 of them. They're pretty straightforward, boilerplate for the most part. And the applicant is here for any questions you may have, and staff is here for any questions or clarifications you may have as well.
Thank you, Jason. Questions for Jason?
Clarification, you mentioned the right-of-way and it being much larger than, I'm sorry, I was trying to picture is that where the deck would be protruding, or is the other side?
The one that I pointed out when I first saw this right after the storm was the one that's directly adjacent to the northwest Bayshore Road. That one right there, if you've seen the house, the driveway exists largely in the right-of-way.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it's very different than what you might see in a more interior lot,
Now I
or even
understand.
other corner lots at that.
So the deck would be on the nature, or on the Gulf Island side.
Well, it would be on the Gulf Island side, which already has the larger setback. So staff agrees that that's probably the better place to put it, rather than trying to do a few hairpin turns on the shorter side and still needing to have a variance to do it.
Did you get any comments from any of the neighbors?
I have not seen any comments from the neighbors directly, and they were not added into the record.
Any other questions for Jason? Thank you very much, Jason. Does the applicant wish to say anything this morning? Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's John Prenz, and I guess my intention is to just create a deck to be able to spend a little bit more outside time. The existing one there is kind of beaten up and kind of limiting, and so I was just looking if I could make it so I could get a couple seats out there. I think that was my intention.
Thank you, Mr. Prince. Anybody have questions for the gentleman?
I do.
Jim?
Is this your primary residence?
No.
How is the property used?
I use it as a personal, I've got 6 kids. We come down here, and then when we're not using it, we use it as a rental, short-term rental or monthly rental.
So it's registered as a monthly rental?
Yeah,
Registered with the town?
yeah.
The feedback I'm getting from some of the neighbors are that there's weekly turnover with the rentals versus monthly. They also seem to believe, whether it's verified or not, that it isn't properly registered as a rental. So you're indicating it is?
I thought it was. I have an agency that takes care of all this for me, so I
Okay.
assume they have that all properly registered.
Concern was activity, noise, turnover of people, and I think the additional concern that was communicated, at least to me, was with a larger deck, since there isn't a backyard, that's where everybody's going to be during the rental times, and obviously what goes with all that would be different than the environment the community is experiencing today. So I have concerns over that, getting that feedback, and the way the house is used relative to more frequent rental than it's being proposed, or being represented, I mean. That's all.
I had the same conversations with a neighbor that said that it was being used as a weekly rental, and they weren't sure whether it was registered. But their concern was having that deck out on the front would just carry down the street, and there's no other properties that, on that street, the whole way down, that protrude out into that area. And, their concern was the noise that would be coming from the rentals that should be monthly. This kind of reminds me of the Nature View situation when they wanted to put a front porch on, and they were using the rentals, and they were concerned about the noise. You know, I'm just wondering if there isn't a way, if he wanted to have the deck, to have it come off of that front porch stoop and go back over your pool area to make the deck go as a covered area of your pool area, as opposed to fronting the, you know, coming out further to, so that there's no sound barriers. This way, it would be sound barrier between your garage and your house, giving a covered deck.
Yeah, I think the deck, well, my intention is that I've got 2 kids still in high school, and so I've obviously got to spend time, can't spend as much time down here because they're still in school, but it's my intention is like for my family to spend, you know, all the winter down here in about 1.5 years. And so I'm just trying to kind of get it set up so it's kind of like a good spot. Where there's that easement that goes, you can go see the, I guess, the inner waterway. And so the deck's sort of set up where you get a little bit of a sunrise and a view of the water. And I guess that's the intention, to be able to capture that great part of the lot.
The deck is just discussed in square footage. What is the actual size of the deck?
The current
feet.
one?
No, that you're planning.
I think it's the 200,
I understand that. I'm asking, is it a 10 by 5? Is it a, what is it?
it's got an angle on it.
It's not exceedingly laid out, well laid out that way because there's a bunch of different crenellations to it. My understanding is there was already 81 square feet. That was the entryway,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And so this would be 232 square feet on top of the 81 that's
Yeah,
already
because it's
there.
got the stairway, which I don't know how to compute that square footage, but it's doubles the size of it, basically.
I would say it probably more than doubles the size of it, but keep in mind the 81 square feet, that's an enclosed entryway area.
I
That's,
mean, it's probably this big right now.
right.
This, probably 4 feet by 4 feet
Currently.
currently.
Yeah, she's asking just general layout.
What is the layout of,
Dimension 100,
No, length
Oh.
and depth of it.
dimensions of what you're planning on building?
I don't have the exact, I don't have that. in front of me.
Ballpark.
It's probably 12 by 7.
So I apologize for interrupting. A 1.1 has a dimension plan for the proposed deck on there.
I didn't see that.
And so, and this is where it gets a little hinky because the full depth from the proposed edge of the deck to his full house is 19 feet. But you've got to understand that there's a bump out in there that is part of his entryway that is not part of the discussion today. It just, that's the entryway that the deck would then lead into. So the deck is proposed to go around that 81-foot bump out that you're seeing. And so the depth from the new portion to the bump out is approximately 9.5 feet. So they want to have basically a 9.5-foot open area before you get to that entrance vestibule. And then the width of the deck is 2110, so let's call it 22 feet wide. Again, a good chunk of that is taken up by the existing vestibule that is existing non-compliant for a few inches, but that already exists.
Right.
So it's hard to say that give you a number of what that actual full depth is. That's why it's expressed in the 232 square feet, I think.
21 by 18, is that what it says?
It's, Jane,
Yeah.
it's like 21 by 9'5" as being sort of the usable square portion of the deck.
Yep.
And then there's a little bit of walkway along the side to her.
Okay.
So it's
But
about 200
It's
square.
about 200 square
200 square feet.
of usable deck.
Any other questions for Mr. Prince?
Only would, since you suggested that you've got an agency taking care of this, and this seems, you know how hot this topic is in the town right now about unregistered rentals. I assume you get reports that you could testify to the fact that you're following the monthly rentals, the neighbors are observing something that isn't there. I bring that in because we care a lot about this feedback and the impressions, and these are your neighbors, but we hear from them. And I wouldn't want to be in a situation where we're enhancing the attractiveness of a rental unit that would create additional concerns for the neighbors if it's not being complied with as it's set up today. So I just want to go on record that that's a concern that I've heard and one I want to recognize and one I'm going to consider when I make my decision.
Okay. Did you want to say anything to that, Mr. Prinz?
Yeah, we spoke to the property manager about the monthly rental thing, and they told me that they've got that. Now, I do know that some months, because somebody doesn't want it for a whole month, they may come in for 2 weeks. But there's only 12 rentals in a year, and that's, I think, what the property manager's been told specifically to do.
Well, actually, it's one per
Per
month,
month.
not
30-day
That's what-
period.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So even if it's 2 weeks, they can't come back in the third week with a new renter.
right.
You can't have all 12 in the season of 4 months.
season.
Yeah.
I see a way to get his deck and not have it be brought out further by going, the walkway could just be continued down to over the pool enclosure.
But that's
and-
not what's in front
I
of us,
know.
Jane.
Right.
So I feel like it's an excessive ask
Okay.
based on,
So does anybody have any further questions for Mr. Prinz? All right, thank you, sir.
There was just one note was, and I think the staff report was the expansion would maintain the same side street setback as the existing single-family residence, and granting the variance will not be injurious to the neighborhood or otherwise detrimental to the public welfare. And that's just the comment from the staff report. But
Yes.
that's all I gotta say.
but do
Okay.
you agree that it would have the same setback? Because it would not.
It's the front.
So what that references is actually the shorter side on Bay Shore Road. What they're saying is they're going to bring that relatively
side.
thin walkway area to the edge of the existing house,
Right.
and that portion would have now an 8.1 setback like the house has.
But
the-
that's a side street. I mean, that's actually it's the front of
That's
the
the
house
front,
that we're
right.
putting this deck on.
Correct.
So,
Since it's a corner, they can determine which one they want to call the front and which one they want to call the street side. Generally, we defer to where you take access to your home, and we looked at this and said, okay, there's the driveway right there. So we initially determined that to be.
they have 2 driveways though, right? It looks
No.
like on Google Earth they have 2
Oh,
driveways.
they've got a walkway from the right-of-way on the larger side?
No, the driveway's not.
Look, to me,
The,
it looks like there's one on Gulf Island and one on Bay, if Google Earth is correct.
well, I'm not going to say Google Earth
Okay,
is incorrect.
sorry.
Do you want to speak to that on there? Is there an additional driveway?
Are there
Oh,
two
yeah.
driveways?
Yeah, so there's a
driveways and a
there's
walkway.
detached garage that
Right.
has a driveway, and then on the, I think the Bay Shore side, there's.
I see it.
Yes, because
There's
Okay,
a
it's a breezeway.
two-car
Jane,
garage
talk
on that
into your
side.
microphone.
Either way, it doesn't change the way that the code is written. Unless you are on Estero, that's prescriptive and says you shall use this as your front and everything else is a side. On non-Estero properties, there's a little bit of leeway for them to determine what's most beneficial to them for their build.
Okay.
One thing, or actually 2 things, if I may. Real quick, just a clarification. I noticed in the staff report there was mention of Bay Shore Road. Any mentions of Bay Shore Road should be Bayside Road, just minor housekeeping in the staff report. Lastly, if it were prudent for the LPA, you could, in theory, add a additional condition to require that it be properly registered as a monthly rental with the town prior to either issuance of permits or issuance of a CO. We could write that as an additional.
Well, let me react to that. I just think
me
we're
too.
in the compliance business. I'd be much more interested, I was going to say this at the end because I don't want to take the applicant's time, be much more interested to know before you come in here whether or not the people are following the rules that the town has set up. They shouldn't get benefit of this process, exceptions, or other things we do if the basic things are not being followed. And I know we've talked about this before with this body. I'm not sure we ever codified any protocols or process to enforce that yet, but it's important to me, and I'm sure it's important to everybody else up here, that the people come in and ask something from us ought to be doing what they're already being asked to do by the town.
Completely understandable.
Yeah, I think it would be valuable to understand as each of these come up, if they're registered rentals, if they're compliant, et cetera. So
I don't see a
but-
problem with adding that to our standard operating procedure for our checklist when they come in, is to
Love
run them
that.
by
That would
short-term
be
rental.
great, Jason.
Love that.
And
That
then,
would be
and then
great.
lastly, compliance is wonderful, but
Hold on,
what's-
Nancy's
Oh, I'm
got
sorry.
some,
Yeah, can you guys hear me now?
we
Yes.
can.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, so we did move, this issue has come up before as far as having violations during the process where you're trying to get some type of land use approval. So we drafted an ordinance, and I believe the ordinance went through as far as first reading. We then were introduced to SB 180 that said that you could not change your code to make it more restrictive and more burdensome. So requiring compliance before any type of review or approval would arguably be more restrictive and more burdensome on the property owner. So that ordinance did not make it to second reading, if I'm recalling correctly. It is not currently a criteria in your code. If you were to amend your code to add that, we're gonna, again, be faced with SB 180. Now, there are some things in the legislature right now, some proposed bills that hopefully will make SB 180 a little bit more manageable for local governments, but at this time, it's really not a criteria that you should consider in your decision-making regarding this. There is a code enforcement process in place in the town of Fort Myers Beach, and if there are alleged violations, that process can be followed. We actually have 2 special magistrates who hear code enforcement violations. So I just want to caution you in your deliberation. Your task, your responsibility is to apply the criteria that is currently in your land development code.
All right, well,
Okay,
maybe
Nancy.
Yeah.
talk
Thank you
more
very
about
much.
that.
Are there any other questions for the applicant?
I would like to just ask the applicant if they would confirm and affirm to us that you will ensure, working with your rental management company, that they will follow the rules and that there will not be multiple rentals in a month in season.
Absolutely. I
Thank you,
will
sir.
do that immediately after this meeting. I just wasn't aware of it.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mr.
it.
Prince. Okay, is there, Mr. Prince, you can sit down now. Thank you very much. Is there anybody in the public who'd like to speak on this case? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Lisa Sumby, and I have 163 Gulf Island Drive. I have a question on the letter that we all received about this. There's a change in the classification on the property from residential single-family to low-density residential, and we just want to make sure the homeowners of Gulf Island Manor, we're a small little association of 59 homes, we are all only single-family homes, and we just want to make sure that in the future, this cannot be turned into a duplex, because it does have a non-conforming downstairs.
Lisa, I'm going to have Jason address that afterwards. Thank you. Is there anybody else who has a question or any issues? Thank you. Jason, could you just answer Lisa's question?
Yes, absolutely, and it's a great question, actually. So the low-density language that you're seeing, that is a future land use designation for the area. The actual zoning area that it sits in is residential single-family. But you've got to remember that every zone has a future land use zone associated with it as well. They work together, so that's how you would determine what portions of the comp plan would be relevant to this type of area. But it's still residential single family, still has all of the same requirements, whether that be short-term rental or setbacks.
So you could
Lisa, you can't ask a question, but I'm just going to say for the record, it could not turn into a multifamily unit.
Absolutely. Residential single-family is one of the few zones that specifically disallows multifamily,
Correct.
including two-family.
Yes.
So other than a rezone, which nobody's asking for and is not in the cards, that can't change.
You're safe and sound.
But
Yes,
is
ma'am.
that true with the post-disaster build-back?
If there was already a duplex there
was
or a
already-
Okay,
non-compliant amount of density, they would be able to vest that if they used the post-disaster.
Okay, any other questions for Jason? Thank you very much, Jason.
You have another comment?
Oh, yes, ma'am.
He didn't swear.
Yeah, that's right. Ma'am, when you come up here, we're gonna swear you in, so hold on one second. Hold on one second. Amy, raise your right hand. Ma'am, raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand. Go ahead and pull that mic down to you just a little bit, too.
Just one moment, just one moment. You have to be sworn in. Jason, will you pull the microphone down for her? Okay, we're gonna swear you in for your testimony.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
now tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Susan Crawford. I am the immediate abutter on Bayside Road.
Thank you.
Much of the summer, the property that we're talking about was rented to many times a lot of people. There's a pool there, you know, a lot of splashing and noise, and a large deck on that where it's rented much more than 50% of the time. I mean, the owner, from my point of view, has not been seen that much. It is mostly renters, and a larger deck would certainly make the place more rentable. It's going to be kind of an eyesore stretching beyond the limits that we have already determined. The 20 feet is something that everybody agreed upon, and to have one person be able to get a variance and build like 9 feet back from the road is just incomprehensible. So I just thought I would offer that point of view from somebody who is right there and right next to everything that goes on.
Well, we appreciate you coming in this
Thank
morning.
you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Okay, the public section is closed. Any discussion from the LPA? There is a recommendation of denial on this request, and there are conditions for approval if that's what you wish to do. May I have a motion, please?
I'm gonna make a motion for denial.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to deny. There is a second. Any discussion? Nancy wants to say something.
Yes, could we state on the record the basis for the denial,
Doug?
based on one of the criteria?
Yes, ma'am. The staff is recommending denial based on the criteria, and I don't see, based on criteria, any approval path. There's no justification.
No
that I can see.
hardship.
No
Very good.
hardship.
Okay, and you agree, Don?
I do.
Okay, so the motion is to deny based on a, not meeting the criteria for approval as based in our land development code. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, your vote, Doug?
I vote for denial.
For denial, yes.
Denial, aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Jim?
Denial.
Jane?
Yes.
Don? I mean, it's not Don, you're not Don. Jim? You want to be Don, you could. Jim?
I'd have to change chairs.
You would.
Yes, I vote for the denial, but this is not an enforcement issue.
No,
a
this is denial on-
planning issue.
yes, it is.
And it's based on the fact that, there is no hardship here, so.
John, your vote?
It's denial, and I would say even the one criteria that says it will not be injurious to the neighborhood, it appears that it might actually be so. So across
I
the
also
board.
vote to approve the motion. So unfortunately, sir, your request is denied. And your next stop will be the town council. The next item on our agenda is another variance for 225 Egret Street. This is a resolution of the Fort Myers Beach Local Planning Agency approving with conditions or denying variance request 202-50279. This is requesting a variance from the Land Development Code Section 26-743A to allow a 597 square foot boathouse where a maximum 500 square foot boathouse is permitted for the existing single-family resident in the RS zoning district for the property located at 225 Egret Street, generally referred to as strap number 344624W400550010 in Fort Myers Beach, and providing for other clarifications as necessary, providing for conflicts of law, Scrivener's errors, severability, and providing for an effective date. Jason?
Good morning, Jason Smalley, Planning and
Jason,
Zoning.
may I pause you for a moment?
Yeah, of course.
Ex parte.
Oh, thank you. See, I got all flustered. John, anything?
I have no ex parte, but I'm obviously
neighbor.
intimate with the property as it's one vacant lot away from mine.
How about you, Don?
No ex parte.
Thank you, Jim.
I've changed my name to Jim.
How about you, Jane? Anything?
I went to the property, yeah, so.
Don?
No ex parte.
Jim?
No.
Doug?
No, ma'am.
I don't have any either. Okay, Jason.
Jason Smalley, Planning and Zoning Department. So before you today is a request on 225 Egret Street to create a 597 square foot boathouse. So this boathouse is a fabric covering. The code says that when we look at single-family homes, and this is separate from condominiums and residential commercial docks, there is an allowance for these fabric coverings. The code tells us that we need to treat it like a boathouse, so the boathouse section holds. And the maximum allowed area of a boathouse roof is 500 square feet. So to get the size of the boathouse that they are requesting, they have to come in today and get a variance to account for the additional approximately 100 square feet. The proposed area, you can see in the plans, which are in your packet, they're proposing a 14-foot protrusion into the waterway. That includes the marginal area directly adjacent to the wall and the proposed boathouse and lift extending out into the waterway. This is a 56-foot wide canal. You are allowed to take up to 25% of that, and so that maxes them out at the 14 feet of protrusion into that waterway. Effectively, what they've done is they've maximized the area that could theoretically be used for either docks, lifts, or the boathouse cover with this plan. Before you today, though, is, if you look at the request for this, this is going to be less intense than the standard boathouse. Just to give you an idea, we're talking about a stretched canvas or other fabric type material. Most of the ones I've seen do sort of a barrel roll, although there are alternative designs that would also work that have more drip edge, like a regular roof. The applicant is here for any questions that you may have, and staff is open for any questions or concerns that you have for us.
Thank you, Jason. Questions for Jason? Anyone?
There's no additional pylons, or this is all just going to be overhanging on the existing infrastructure?
So yes, there's already pilings for the existing boat lift. I would assume that they are going to tack into that, but I would defer to the applicant themselves for the layout and design and whether there's additional posts. The plan itself doesn't seem to indicate new posts, but I don't think they call them out as new or existing on the page that I have in front of me.
Jason, Jane?
Yes, the setback for the sides of a property to have a dock or whatever, is that based on the square footage of the, the seawall, or whatever is there?
No, so the 5-foot minimum setback in canals or other man-made canals is entirely based on the type of waterway it is. In the same circumstance, if this were a bay home, then they would have more restrictive 25-foot setbacks on both sides. But that's determined on whether it's a natural water body versus a man-made water body.
Okay. What I saw when I went there is that I can see I didn't walk the property, I came on the empty lot, was that the other covered boat dock, it seems to be right there. And my concern is in extending it, it might impede that boat from getting in if it had you know how you have those fishing things and stuff like that, that if you were
Outriggers.
trying to get in or out, that by having a structure that was even in the air would impede or encroach on the navigation of the boat ahead of it. Because they are at the same width and same, you know, he has to come in and turn into like this, and they're right behind each other. That to me would be a tough turn.
But there's only a 5-foot requirement.
Yes, there's a minimal requirement on man-made canals. Jane, to your point, coming from Marco Island, I dealt with this every single day, both canals and natural waterways. Unfortunately, the code doesn't give us a lot of way to say, no, we don't believe that the vessel that you're proposing, and technically we can't even ask about what vessel they're
Yes.
proposing because it's not relevant.
Right.
Are you sure that you've got the area that you need and the angles that you need? The reality is anytime you have 5-foot setbacks, whether it's this or just a naked uncovered dock, there's always got to be some amount of neighborly sort of understanding that somebody's going to have to kind of creep across your area to enter their dock, whether it's a 40-foot, 45-foot long boat or something more manageable like 25.
So would this new design impede on the 5-foot setback?
No, so they would be kept to the same setbacks as if it were a wooden or solid structure. The edge or the drip edge, whatever they use, still is going to have to be set back at the 5 feet minimum, just as if they were building a dock or a lift or anything like that.
Okay, and so your denial was based on the amount of square footage of the canopy.
Yes, it was a choice. That was the determination in the code. You could build a 500 square foot and not request this, but the vessel that they've chosen to have on the site seemingly necessitates the larger area.
And so he could have come in without going through a variance for a 500 square foot cover.
That is correct. If you had a boat that would fit under there, 500 square feet is allowed by right on single-family homes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Jason? Jason, were there any comments, negative or positive, from neighbors?
I have not seen it. I don't believe that anything was added to my record here, but I have not seen it personally either.
I'd like to make a comment on that. We received the notification as a neighbor on Sunday,
Oh.
And I haven't gotten mine yet.
just as a comment.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go back and check. The new policy is that the applicant is sending out those notifications, and they should have sent us photographs before they went out, so we can go back and take a look and ensure that that was done to code.
Okay.
Thank you. Kara? Did you send out your notices, Kara?
I certainly did. Kara Stewart, for the record, and I will address that right off the bat. The notices were sent out. I personally stuffed the envelopes, went to the post office, provided photographs to Town Hall to verify that. I gave them a list of the mailing, a list of the envelopes, and I personally went and posted the property. So in that
The post was
regard,
there.
unfortunately, if you didn't receive them, I apologize for that.
No, I will agree that the property has been posted.
It is, yeah.
Thank you. In reference to this request,
Oh, Kara, say your name for the record.
I'm sorry, Kara Stewart. for
Perfect.
the record.
Thank you.
And I'm representing the DeSanchik family, and Mr. DeSanchik is here currently. This is quite a unique request in one regard, and I believe it meets the criteria of de minimis, keeping in mind that we have as you all just discussed briefly, the code allows for the dock to be set 5 foot back. The way you read the code with the boathouse, it requires me to have my support columns 10 foot set back. Our support columns for this type of structure are set back anywhere between 17 feet and 23 feet. So we have gone beyond what was required even in this design. We will meet every area of the boathouse design criteria, including 20 feet from the mean high water line. That is a requirement. As Jason mentioned, we have to limit ourselves to a 25% intrusion into the canal. We will meet that as well. It's kind of unique if you think about it for a minute, because the reason I'm here is that it's a soft cover. I'm going to give you a little bit of maybe confusion, but I don't mean to. So the structure is permitted per se, it's the cover that is creating the problem. In my crazy mind, I was even imagining, well, what difference does it make if I had this large structure and maybe in the middle of it I removed some of my cover? I still have the same effect. So what I'm going for is it's a de minimis request. In addition to that, not that the beach has to do what other jurisdictions are doing. I have done some preliminary, let me go take a look, because of that de minimis effect. There are other jurisdictions that are adjacent to you that have a 1,000 square foot limit on these canopy covers. So again, it's not uncommon for us to have a larger canopy cover. The canopy covers are a result of the larger boats that we're seeing as well. Keep that in mind. You know, we all go out on the water, that's why we're here, you know, but the number of boats and the size of the boats have tremendously increased. There is a little bit of a design choice here, but it's a design choice in favor of your code. It was to eliminate all areas of intrusion other than that soft cover. The boat, as it stands today, is permitted, is on a lift, has a soft cover on it. The new lift, the new cover, the canopy cover that I'm going to keep referring to, that we're considering it a boat lift, when that gets constructed, the owner explained to me, they put the boat on the lift, and they create the cover as close as they can to that boat for obvious reasons of sun protection and whatnot. So I believe, once again, that it really falls into the de minimis category, and short of needing the 97 square feet, it's almost oblivious. I've done many looks at the aerials. I had one in the packet. You, for some reason, didn't make it. I'll be happy to provide it to you, showing all the boathouses with those types of covers in the neighborhood. We have not received anything from anybody in the neighborhood having any objection. And for those reasons, we're hoping that we can answer any questions or concerns you might have in favor of a positive response for our request.
Thank you, Kara. Questions for Ms. Stewart? Jim?
No, just a comment at the end.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. So, Jane, back to your point, both living and navigating that canal, the bigger issue is how shallow it is versus getting in and out of anything else. And as it relates to obtrusion into the navigation thing, and clearly we're all beholding to the 5 foot, I'd much rather have a canopy than a dock sitting there for all the reasons that you go in and out. It really, notwithstanding your flybridge issues, it's a lot easier to get in with an extended canopy than it is with a hard structure sitting there. So I find it de minimis. It's important, in my mind, aesthetic and protection, and it's not inconsistent with the look and the feel of the canal. We do have to drive by that beautiful boat, and that causes conversations about upgrading, but you don't want to go into that another issue. I'll leave it with that.
I have a question, actually. Would you object to, perhaps it is done here in the conditions, but a further condition that restricts the boathouse to the canopy as it's described. I'm just trying to tie that down a little tighter because it really is the structure that matters.
Exactly. That is probably a very good point. I don't believe the owner would have any objection to that because we are just looking for this cover.
Yeah.
And along those lines, I will clarify for those of you that may or may, the boathouse code allows me to have some storage and storage partly structure under there, that we're not looking to do any of that. This is strictly, we don't have the room, we don't have a walk around. This boat comes in on the lift, goes up in the air, end of story. So yes, I don't believe he will. Correct, no objection to doing that.
And will you allow me to go out on that beautiful boat?
There we are again.
That won't be a
Now you're disqualified.
That's not a condition. I'm just very envious
Look
of
at
that
Nancy's
boat.
going to have a heart
Yeah,
attack.
Nancy, she can't push her button hard
He
enough.
didn't say that, Nancy.
You did?
He did
Withdraw
not say
that
that.
statement there.
You know,
Yes,
one-
I withdraw the statement. It
Now
was a
I want to
joke.
go see the boat. Okay.
One more thing on the de minimis, and you'll notice some, and this includes the square footage thing. Some of us like to have a little bit of a side of that cloth coming down to keep it out of there. That also counts as that
Yes,
square
it does.
footage, even though it does nothing to impede on anything.
That's right.
So I agree of the approach you're taking, fairly de minimis in expectations.
Any other questions for Kara?
May I just add one comment? Members of
wants
the
to go on the boat,
LPA,
too.
in the past, you have recognized Ms. Stewart as an expert in planning and zoning in Fort Myers Beach. Is that also continue to be true, just for record keeping?
Yes, ma'am. Any objection to recognizing or continuing to recognize Ms. Stewart as an expert in her field?
No problem.
No problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Nancy.
you.
All right. No further questions for Ms. Stewart?
I just have one question,
Go ahead.
just to make sure I understand. So this structure is like supported by the existing pilings that support the boat lift, right? There's no
Correct.
additional pilings in the water.
Correct.
No.
There are no additional, the stanchions, I actually
there's
went
like
to
beams that
to the
span.
company that's building them also, yes. I did a lot of research on this one. The stanchions are a part of the lift. So the stanchions for the cover, the canopy
Yeah.
cover, are coming
And then it sort of
directly.
extends past
Correct.
the,
They actually
and it's
extend 45
cantilevered.
degrees from the existing pylons, that's how they do it.
Yeah, okay, just wanted to understand.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. Any further questions for staff?
I do. Do you feel that by approving this, it will create a path for all the large boat owners to come in and say, well, you did it for them?
No. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's no real precedential value to the variance that you're giving today, and quite honestly, I think the boaters of the island are progressing into larger vessels with or without any language.
Yeah. And every one of these cases are individual in nature.
I just
and-
wanted that on the
Yep.
record.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anything else? If not,
Public comment.
yeah, maybe some public comment, but there isn't any other than, sir, would you like to say anything about your, and maybe an invitation? This
Oh
would be-
my gosh, here we go.
Good morning.
Johnny.
Thank you for
We're
seeing us. I'll touch off on that one neighbor though. So he's basically family to me because unfortunately my mother's been sick for a little bit. So whenever I get her down there, he keeps an eye on her and we look out for each other. When I went to purchase the boat, everything I did with this boat, he helped me pick it out.
Okay.
And we made sure that we measured it so he'd have access to get in and out.
Yeah.
When you talk about any type of fishing equipment on top of the boat, I had a boat on that lift previously, if you guys remember. It was a yellow boat.
You do.
I can't tell you how many times I forgot to take down my stuff and I hit the cover. So any type of lift, you have to reduce those and bring them down before you enter. As far as him getting in and out, we've already tested it out. It works out fine. The boat's there. It's not going to overextend the boat. And being that it's going to sit as high as it is, it's not going to cause any issues.
Right.
So.
Well, that's great that you're a good neighbor.
And do me a favor, say your name for the record.
Oh, Stephen
please.
DeSanzik.
Thank you very much. Very nice to meet you.
Beautiful boat, Stephen.
Okay, no public comment, no more public comment. All the questions have been asked. Would somebody like to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve variance 2025-0279 to allow a 597 square foot boathouse where a maximum 500 square foot 4-foot boathouse is permitted with the conditions as attached, and I would like to add an additional condition that there not be any additional structure other, that the
Pilings?
drawing as it's proposed is the drawing that will be, or the structure that will be built.
Very good.
Okay.
Is there a second?
Second, Seta.
Thank you, Don. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, your vote, John?
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Jane?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
And I'm an aye also. Your carries unanimously. You are approved, sir. Thank you very much. Next item is the administrative agenda. Amy? Jason, anything? I'm kind of jumping
Nothing
forward.
major. I believe next month we expect to have a full LPA meeting dedicated to only two things. The one larger one will be multiple pieces, and I'm sure you understand who's going to be coming down there. And there's going to be, I believe, one additional variance, just fairly straightforward. So next meeting will be dedicated to one larger project, and that's what we expect you all to see. It's gonna be
Confirm that
very-
date, please.
Yep.
Amy, can I?
It is February 10th.
February 10th. Okay, it's on the record.
February 10th, yes.
Okay, thank you, Jason.
Nothing else, though. Thank you.
Jason, could I just touch base? You know, at our December meeting, I think it was Jim that brought up updates on existing cases. Anything on that? Because we really would, not only we would, but I think the public would also like to know where all of these cases, that some have been very controversial, that have come before us, where they stand in the development process.
Okay, so we are we talking about one project in particular?
No, sir.
No, all of them.
All of
Just
them.
in
All
general?
approved
of them.
since
All of
24.
them. All of them. And I'm not putting you on the spot. You weren't here. It
Future
was
meeting.
Jason Green. But we would like to hear a regular report of what's going on. And that kind of alerts the community as well as to what's going on. But if you have anything to share, you're welcome to.
Not at this time.
Okay.
We're still trying to get our feet under us after the long break here.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe in our February meeting, we'll have a little recap.
I will bring it up to Jason and say, and make him realize that this was a request
real
from
request,
y'all.
yeah.
It
real
is a
request.
real
That'd be
re-
good. Thank
It's
you.
definitely a real request.
Like
Okay,
it.
thank you very much. LPA items and reports. Doug, anything?
No, ma'am.
How about you, Jim? Don?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Jane?
Just want to request absence for the March meeting at this time so that we can just have that on record.
Denied. Just want to see what happens. Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, all right, Jane. Jim, anything?
Nothing.
John, anything?
Yeah, I'd like to announce that I will be applying for the open position at Town Council. So I will be submitting my paperwork to you, Amy, this week. And I hope that I'm able to continue to serve the community as we rebuild and move forward. I absolutely love being on the LPA.
Of course you do.
And the LPA member.
And, but I hope that I can have an impact on Town Council.
Well, great.
Good for you, John.
Good for you.
Very good. Okay, I just have, I have two things other than bringing up what we asked for in December. One was another thing we asked for, and that was to review again the development agreement process and the development agreement ordinance. And could we even put a date to that? So obviously it won't be February, but could we say we'll do that in March? At our March meeting? Not to put you on the spot. Nancy, you have any issue with that?
No issues.
Okay.
It's a scheduling item.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think staff would be
Okay.
opposed to that.
Okay, great. So, well, let's put it on for March. Jane won't be here, so if she's got anything to add or whatever, she could submit it in writing to you guys, and then we can look at it, right?
Thank you.
And the other thing that it came up actually at the charter review meeting the other day. And why did it come up at charter review? I don't remember, but
What time?
the ex parte.
Oh, it was Hank wanting to expand full disclosure, and he had that whole
Yes,
dissertation
yes.
about it, yeah.
Yes, he did. Okay, so I think we should review the ex parte ordinance. You know, back in the day when we made that decision, nothing exciting was really happening here. I mean, the excitement was Diamond Head and it had already been approved. But now we have major cases, major discussions in the community with the development that is going on. And I personally don't feel that simply saying, I met with this group, whatever group that may be, without giving some context to what that meeting was, it doesn't disclose enough to the applicant or to the public. And, Nancy brought up at Charter Review that the applicant has the ability to ask questions of the LPA or the council, should we disclose something that they'd like more information on? And that's great, but the public doesn't have that opportunity. And right now, as we all know, the public it's important that they are informed and that they are kind of included in this process. And so I'm just wondering if you all would agree I haven't looked at that ordinance since we did it back in probably 1996. If we could review the ex parte, see if there's anything that any gaps we need to fill, or if we need to expand the disclosures that LPA and council members are making for cases at that particular time. What do you all think? I told Jim, when we discussed it briefly at the charter review, I said, well, interestingly enough, I'm going to bring this up at the LPA meeting. So thoughts, anybody? Anybody
support a
object to
discussion.
read?
No,
Okay.
no objection.
No, I think, I believe that some of the meetings are actually very helpful, but I am 100% in agreement that transparency of what occurs during those meetings. For example, I tend to use them as information sessions as opposed to conversations. Let me put it that way.
Yes, me too.
And so I think it's very important that the community as a whole has confidence in any discussions that we're having are on the up and up, and further transparency is always great.
Okay. All right. So, hey, Jason, could you put that on the March schedule too? Well, I mean, it'll that way it'll be 2 ordinances that come back to us just for review. Hopefully the March won't be too heavy. Okay. That was it for me. Attorney items, Nancy, anything?
No, but thank you for allowing me to participate remotely today. I appreciate it.
It's kind of nice. We've got 4 of you in here. Yeah, you're on 4 screens.
And the
so-
background's very
It was
nice.
4 to 3, so you had full support.
That's right. Darn it. Okay, we know we've got a heavy schedule for February's meeting, so that's probably going to be an all-day thing. All right. Maybe we'll have a lunch break or something in there? Okay, very good. Anything from anybody else?
Motion adjourned.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Second.
Thank you very much, and we are adjourned at 10:17 a.m.
Okay.